So, what does it actually take to make a century-old apartment energy efficient? Well, we're about to follow the story of one Chicago resident's personal journey into home electrification. And let me tell you, it is full of some pretty unexpected twists and turns. This quote, it just gets right to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? It wasn't just about being comfortable. It was about finding a way to get through those increasingly hot summers without compromising her environmental values. And that tension right there is what kicks off this entire story. So, let's start at the beginning with her personal quest and the problem that set everything in motion. For years, Kate absolutely refused to get an air conditioner. She just didn't want the environmental baggage that comes with a standard AC unit. But the summers in her old Chicago apartment just kept getting hotter and hotter until it was pretty much unbearable. She knew she had to do something. The big question was, how could she solve the comfort problem without creating a whole new environmental one? Well, her search led her to one specific piece of technology that seemed to promise the best of both worlds, a heat pump. Okay, so what in the world is a heat pump? Well, put simply, think of it like a heat taxi. Instead of burning fuel to create heat, it just moves heat from one place to another. In the summer, it grabs heat from inside your home and shuttles it outside. And in the winter, it does the exact opposite. It pulls warmth from the outside air and brings it inside. It's this incredibly efficient, all-electric system for both heating and cooling. For Kate, this was it, the perfect, guilt-free solution. But as you can probably guess, it wasn't quite as simple as just buying the unit and plugging it in. Trying to install a modern appliance in a building that's a century old, that came with a few complications. This really was the million-dollar question for Kate. She had the solution in hand, but would her building's old infrastructure even cooperate? As she found out real quick, the answer was a hard no. And this is where you see the domino effect in action. The plan was simple, right? Install the heat pump. But the contractors discovered that the building's wiring was completely ancient. I mean, it was designed for a time with much, much lower electricity use. It just couldn't handle the power that a modern appliance needs. So that meant she needed a brand new electrical subpanel. And just like that, a pretty straightforward project spiraled into a much more complex and, yeah, more expensive electrical upgrade. But you know what? Here's where the story takes a really fascinating turn. That mandatory electrical upgrade she was forced to do actually opened the door to some totally unplanned changes that made a huge difference in her daily life. With her apartment now wired to handle a proper electrical load, she decided to make another switch. She got rid of her old gas stove and replaced it with a small, two-burner portable induction cooktop that she could just put right on top of the old unit. And the benefits were immediate and pretty profound. Right away, she got rid of the toxic fumes from burning gas indoors, which is a health risk she hadn't even really considered before. Cooking became easier, cleaner, and the air in her home just felt fresher. Oh, and the heat pump itself had another hidden perk. During some recent wildfire smoke events, it could actually filter the outside air, creating a safe little haven inside her apartment. So ultimately, this whole thing wasn't just about the technology. The biggest payoff, hands down, was that peace of mind she got from knowing she was living in a way that aligned with her values, while also making her own home a healthier place to be. So after all the ups and downs, the challenges, and the rewards, what was the final verdict? The total cost for the project, including that surprise electrical work, landed at around $7,000. That's a significant investment for sure. And here is a huge lesson for anyone thinking about doing this. Kate found out after the fact that she probably could have qualified for government rebates that would have lowered that cost, but her contractor never mentioned them. The big takeaway here is you've got to do your own research on what incentives are out there. But get this, even with the high cost and missed rebates, she rated her overall satisfaction a 4 out of 5. I mean, that speaks volumes about how worthwhile she felt the whole thing was in the end. In fact, when she thinks about it, her only regret was that she waited so long to do it. The improvements to her health and her peace of mind were just so big, she wishes she'd made the switch years earlier. And her journey is not even over. Now that her home is all electric, her next big goal is to make sure that electricity is coming from a green source. She's planning to do that by joining a community solar program, which lets her buy into a local solar farm and get credit for the clean energy it generates. Kate's story is just such a powerful, real-world example of what it means to take control of your home's energy. And it really leaves all of us with a critical question to think about. We all plug stuff in every single day, but do we actually know where our power really comes from?